Good evening. Hey, David. We're experimenting again tonight. We're in a weird scale tonight. What are we in? We're in harmonic minor. Going spooky tonight. Let's see. Smith. Hello from Toronto. Hey from Boston. I like Toronto. I wonder if anyone ever said, like, I'm from so-and-so, and I'm like, yeah, I hate that place. So, that hasn't happened. Hey, Garen, howdy. David, Bob Summers, Psychopompos 1, and Quasi Wabbit. So we're being weird tonight. We're going experimental again. We're in harmonic minor. Let me put a couple of loops down real quick. Let's put a few mini warbles down. No. Play less. I very much want to, like, take a lead. Let's lay down a bed that's sparse. Put some energy into the bass. Arabian Berlin scroll. Just spooky and sparse. Fiddle around with this tonight. Who else is here? Onyx, hey. James Cockcroft. Let's see. Happy Wednesday. Yep. Or whatever it is. Yeah, it's cold here too. The Plucks of Persia. Plucks of Persia? Sure, why not? It is. It's very much harmonic minor. Obligatory filter sweep. Let's play with these patterns a little bit. Tension, not too much. See if that mini Moog line sounds terrible transposed. It's dissonant, but it's not bad. Let's take it even further. Let's see. still works. Okay. It's dark. Let's drop it an octave. I said tonight was going to be experimental. We are definitely experimenting. Putting a little energy in it. I have no rhythm stuff queued up tonight. I was thinking about it, but I didn't have time to put it in. By the weekend, I think I'll get some rhythm stuff in there. Thanks, Mike. I'm glad I can help your motivation. How many tracks or layers do I have going at the moment? I have... Hang on. We have four tracks of modular voice, a wave state, a mini Moog, and the Rick bass. And the matriarch droning underneath, so 8 total. Time to put some brandy in my tea. I didn't have time to make tea. I was running late, so that's why you get experimental when I'm running late. I don't have time to plan. I've got a split patch here that I didn't know I had. Let's bring the bass out for a minute. Yeah. So apparently I only was playing the top half of this patch. All right, let's do this. Let's make the bass stupidly busy. Make it like Berlin School short too. Let's add a little mini mode. We'll do layers of looping. Can't even hear it. The glockenspiel is lost in the mess. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of... Hold on. So I'm cracking up here. For a while there, it sounded like it could have been from the Munsters. I don't know if you guys are old enough to know that television show. It was old when I was a kid. It's like filmed in black and white. All right. That was just goofy at the end there. All right. Where do we want to go? Let's do this. All right. So I did a key change last night. Let's do another one tonight. Let's go from harmonic minor to something the opposite. Let's go to like Dorian, see what the patterns do. Okay. Here we go. How are we doing on time? I got a few minutes left. All right, let's do this. Let's see what happens. Here we go. All right. So why didn't it change? Why doesn't it sound any different? Right? Let's because the patterns are only using root and fifth. I wasn't even thinking about that. It's like, I'm like doing harmonic minor. I'm like, I'll put roots and fifths in because then when I transpose it, it'll transpose off that and we'll get dissonance and it'll be interesting. And it was interesting, except that if you transpose out and everything's playing roots and fifths, it sounds exactly the same. So now, if I take this down, yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. I can transpose away and it won't be so dissonant. Alright, well if that's the case, let's mess with these patterns a little bit. I'm just going to randomly change them in key to something else. Probably get some dissonance now. And that is the beauty of having a sequencer that knows keys and modes. I literally just randomly change the sliders because it's constraining it to the mode. It can't get too bad. Potential though. Every mode has some intervals in it. Some notes when they're right next to each other, they are like a minor second away, like a half step. And if they both play at the same time, no matter what you do, it's going to sound dissonant because that interval just sounds dissonant. It's like a flat fifth is the same thing. If you play C and F sharp together, no matter if those are in the mode, they're always going to sound dissonant. So and that's okay. So we got some here. So that's why I don't really like purely generative synthesis. I mean, it can be good if you can make the rules for the generation really tightly constrained to avoid dissonance. But most generative systems are going to introduce some dissonance in there, and that might be intentional. You may want to do that. But I am a bit of a control freak, so I really want to place things in. Let me see. Let me bring this down a little bit. I'm going to get on my predictive soapbox here for a minute. So we've only got a few minutes left. So 5 minutes. Let me just chat for a minute. I'll read the chat and talk with you guys for a second, and then we'll call it a night because I only go half hour during the week. But let's see. I want to rant about generative stuff for a second. How many tracks? That's good. Watch the Rick bass video. Specific question: what are the sound elements that make the Trillion bass so distinctive? The Trillion bass for this patch is using it's like the vintage one, which is I think like a Hofner, like Paul McCartney's original bass from the Beatles. I don't think it's actually a Rick. It might be a Rick. It has that bell tone. But there's something about it. It's a neck pickup. I don't know if we're all synth nerds. I don't know but I'm a bass player, so you may or may not understand pickup position. If you're holding the bass, and this is the neck, on Rickenbackers, there's a pickup butted right up against the neck. And it's almost like it's near the midpoint of the bass. And when pickups that are near the midpoint of the bass have these really round bell-like tones, and that's what gives the Rick its sound. And so in the Trillion patch that I'm using, that uses Trillion, I'm using this. It's called Vintage. It's either a Rick or a Hofner, which is a whole lot like a Rick as well. So that's what does it. And then parallel processing it and adding distortion brings out that sort of picked noise and the fret noise and stuff like that. I think that's what does it. So play with that Archstone. See how it works for you. Munster's kind of like Doctor Who BBC radiophonic sound. Earlier, maybe. I don't know. You play bass too. Okay, so you understand. The Rick is it's a neck pickup. That's what really gives it that sound. Let's see. Foldsmith, does the Berlin School style utilize any typical song structure like verse, chorus, verse? Some can. Berlin School is a collection of techniques for creating the music, like approaches to creating it. It's not about song structure, because like you can have stuff Berlin School that's like drone for the first 5 minutes and then does like this kind of plucky repetitive short figure stuff, and then it goes into like a song structure and it plays, you know, a verse that's repetitive that may not have lyrics, but it's got, you know, melodies that are, you know, leading the chord progression and things like that, and then it goes back to ambience, and it's the sky's the limit. So you can totally do song structure, and I'd say you can call your music Berlin School influenced if you play ambient, or if you do pop music but use small repeating figures, and you know, and you try and get that sort of drone stuff going on, that hypnotic sort of rhythmic pattern behavior, right? I'm no arbiter of what you should label your music. I just know my influences are Berlin School approach and prog rock and film music. And so that's what I do. If you like the sound of it, you can watch my videos and see how I do it and carry it further from there, right? I put a request out a week ago or earlier in January. I was like, I would like to hear someone do Berlin School approach, small figures, delay and reverb, play melodies over that, but with dubstep sounds. Because I like that. I like the wubs, you know. I want to see what someone does. Anyway, like a resonance peak. I don't know. I've lost the thread of what you were talking about, Archstone. I'm sorry, because there's like a bit of a latency in there. Anyway, so what I was going to rant about was, now I forgot completely. Oh, generative, right? So, my friend Joe and I joke, and we say, as soon as you build a music system, whatever it is, modular, software, synths, we tend to, not everyone, but people tend to build music systems, right? It's like, I'm going to build this system, and I've got a system of control, and I've got a system of making sound, and I've got a system for mixing it and affecting it, and then producing a finished piece, be it a live performance or recorded thing, right? But we build these systems of control. Joe and I have this joke that says, as soon as your system's complexity grows to the point where you can no longer predict what it's going to do, or you have lost control, or you just don't know what the hell's happening anymore because it's too big, you could call it generative, right? So whenever I'm scrolling through YouTube, I see like generative patch design, and I'm like, okay, so just add complexity till I don't know what it's going to do. Is if you lose predictability, then yeah, it's generative. Now, that may piss off a bunch of people who are really serious about generative music, and that's okay. It's just said in fun. But I still think it's entertaining to think that way, right? So, Mike says, any sufficiently advanced technologies indistinguishable from magic? Yes. Was that from Larry Niven? I think Niven said that in like one of the Ringworld books or something. Or was that a Star Trek quote? I don't know. I don't remember. That one's a good one, though. What are your favorite generative sequences or generative sequencing hacks? I like drunken walk. So like when I am adding randomness, anything that'll do a drunken walk algorithm is fun. I did a video on that. Things like the stochastic inspiration generator has drunken walk behavior. They call it linearity. It's randomly selected notes. A lot of things like the Turing machine. So a lot of Turing machine modules will have a drunken walk metaphor or algorithm in there. Not metaphor, an algorithm. And it's basically like from any given point, you're drunk. So you might take 1 or 2 steps forward, or you might take a step back or 2, right? Oh, Arthur C. Clarke. You got it, Mike. But drunken walk it kind of sounds more like a melody as opposed to randomly jumping all over the place, right? So I like drunken walk for the most part. And I mean, and from a rhythmic perspective, everybody likes Euclidean rhythms, and it's because they sound good, right? But that's it. I don't really mess too much with too much with generative stuff. So see where it goes. All right, it's 8:32. I got things to do. My wife's sitting out there with her laptop and Microsoft Word open, and she's like, I need help laying out this bulletin because she's new to Word. So I get to go teach more, which is fine. Thanks, everybody, for spending time with me. This was a weird one tonight, and they may get weirder still. I'm working on getting a control mechanism in here for doing arrangement. So I want to be able to define patterns in advance and then sequence the patterns so that I can play something evocative and emotional and have everything be my backing band, right? But there's a balancing act between doing that and like, why not just use recorded backing tracks? I don't want to do that for pride, right? So there's a balancing act there. Anyway, so hey guys, have fun, and I will talk to you tomorrow or the next time you show up. I'll be here tomorrow. All right. Have a great night. I'll talk to you later.